What's up, everybody? Let's Talk Jets Radio. Quick video here. We'll be back live tonight, 8 o'clock, talking Jets. Excited to hop back on the stream, talk some football. I definitely missed the show, missed you guys, all the banter, the interactions, and the laughs and all that. Brief video just talking a lot of different topics, and I'm sure we're going to dive into all this stuff tonight. Yesterday, Quinton Williams doesn't report for voluntary offseason workouts. Not a huge surprise considering he already stated that he was not going to play on his fifth-year option. I don't really blame him. He's a young, ascending player. Can make a case he's the best interior D lineman in the NFL once Aaron Donald retires. And certainly a guy that you would like to lock up long-term. I don't even think it matters that Joe Douglas didn't draft him, because ultimately when you look at the first two draft classes from Joe Douglas, other than probably AVT, there's really not a whole lot of guys that it looks like you're going to be giving big-time extensions to. And we know that Joe Douglas doesn't really want to build his team through free agency, giving out big contracts like that. So it almost just, it makes too much sense, for the Jets to, not find a way to get this done with Quinton Williams. Do I expect it to drag out? Yeah, because ultimately, how do you pay Quinton Williams without knowing what you're going to be paying Aaron Rodgers or what compensation you're going to be giving up to get him, and what else you could really surround the rest of the team with? But a young foundational player like Q should definitely be a part of your future. I would even go as far as giving him 6 or 7 years where you could actually spread that money out a little bit. These contracts always go up because the salary cap is always going up. The TV money is always adding to the salary cap. So these contracts typically get bigger and bigger and bigger as you go on. So if you have a chance to lock him up now, instead of a year from now or 2 years from now, or possibly even doing this again in 3 or 4 years, if you can make him a Jet for life, 6-7 year contract, and just spread those big cap hits out where they don't really have a ton of money this year, but the next 2 years they're flush with cap space. That's probably the time to do it, because right after that, that's when you're going to be looking at paying Sauce or Garrett Wilson and possibly Jermaine Johnson, your 3 first-round picks from last year. Other than that, not a whole lot of news. It's amazing to me that, a month now from the Pat McAfee show, and somehow this Aaron Rodgers deal is not done yet. I tend to think the Jets do have a little bit more leverage, which is why Joe Douglas still hasn't really blinked yet. And I don't really blame him, because ultimately I feel like the Jets are a couple players away, and Douglas is going to want to have as much ammo as possible to bring in some veterans and make some deals, because as far as free agents go, maybe you're finding your center in free agency with a Ben Jones, or you're bringing back McGovern or somebody like that. But other than the center position, who else are you really looking at in free agency and saying, all right, that's a guy that the Jets have to go and sign? As far as positions of need, receiver, getting another weapon, especially after you traded Elijah Moore. We don't know what the future of Corey Davis is. Lazard's good. McCole Hardman's got some speed, but I still think you need another weapon. Where are you getting these guys from? Odell signed already. You're probably looking at a trade or two. And, my guy's been DeAndre Hopkins. I think I even said it a few months ago. Like Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Hopkins, sign Quinton Williams. Those 3 things, Jets are going to a Super Bowl. There's footage somewhere of it. But I would love to see that happen. I know he made his comments, I think, like a day or two ago, where he didn't sound too enthused about possibly playing for the Jets, which is fine. You still have other options and other routes that you could go. I know a lot of people aren't really sold on taking a receiver at 13. Personally for me, a guy like Jackson Smith-Njigba, even though he didn't really play last year, he's still a guy that is ridiculously talented. He knows Garrett Wilson. The two of them, I think, would have great chemistry together. They would complement each other very well. You can move them all over the field. Just good route runner, nothing too flashy. Same kind of thing as Garrett Wilson, like nothing too flashy, not elite speed or anything like that, but just a phenomenal route runner, plays the ball well, does everything right. I think the two of those guys would really shine, not just with Aaron Rodgers, but whoever, the next quarterback is ultimately going to be at the Jets. You're going to give them 2 number 1 weapons to work with. So I think that would be a nice problem to have. I personally also, a guy like Michael Mayer, even though we have Uzama, we have Conklin, some people still want to take a look at Rucker going into year 2. He was a fairly high draft pick. But if you could get that true number 1 tight end, the guy that defensive coordinators stay up late game planning for, that Travis Kelce type, that Gronkowski type, the true game-changing number 1 tight end. If you could get a guy like that at 13, or possibly even trading back and still getting somebody, between Mayer and Kincaid, these are guys that are fucking legit. And I know we're paying Uzama a lot of money. I know we're paying Conklin a lot of money, but both of those contracts the Jets can get out from after this year. And, we still ultimately don't know what Rucker is or what he's going to be. So if you have a chance to make an investment, and get a weapon, whether it's receiver or tight end at pick 13, I personally would do it. I know for others, the offensive line is the priority, and I know there's some good tackle prospects, or even that kid Skoronski, who's got the versatility, could play tackle, could play guard. But I'm higher on the offensive line, I think, than most fans, only because my stance on Mekhi Becton's completely changed. And you can go back to streams from last year, and I shitted on Mekhi Becton every chance I could get, because the player that I saw and the person that I saw on social media, interacting with media, interacting with fans, I didn't get the impression that this guy's head was ever in the right place last year. And the pictures that that we would see of him didn't look like he was in shape or that he was taking football seriously at all. And just everything that we've seen from him so far this offseason, maybe it's because he's in a contract year. This is his last chance and he knows it. That's a possibility, and maybe there's still not really a level of comfort in giving him big-time money or a long-term extension. But everything that we've seen out of Mekhi Becton so far this offseason, and just the player person that he is on social media, this is a guy right now that just looks like he's in a completely different mindset right now. He seems happier, he seems motivated, he seems determined to prove that he's not the big bust that everybody labeled him last year, that he actually is going to be capable of getting back on the field and earning that big contract and living up to the hype from when he was drafted his rookie year, when everybody loved him. So it's nice to see that he is in the right place mentally. Now physically, is he actually getting that knee ready to play? Is he going to be able to stay in playing shape, playing weight, keep the weight off and get through a training camp where he's looking good and he's not throwing up and all that? I mean, he still has a long way to go, but just the little things that he's doing right now give me some optimism. And you're bringing AVT back, who can play guard or tackle. You're bringing Dwayne Brown back, even though he's 37. You still have Max Mitchell on the outside, who was pretty serviceable as a rookie. So you have potentially 4 tackle options right there. And Tomlinson, he's making a lot of money. Kind of was a down year last year, but still a solid guard that you can have. It's really just a matter of signing a center. Once you do that, I mean, how much more of an investment do you really want to make in the offensive line? I get it, depth is important. I'm not going to downplay depth. But if you're talking about like pick 13, that might be a guy that might not even play. So when you're talking about a team that's win now, that is ready, I think, to win right now, depending on what else they're able to do, it's hard, even though it would make sense long term. And even if a Becton or somebody goes down, you would have versatility and you would have depth. But if everybody's healthy and you're talking about the 13th overall pick possibly not even playing, I would understand the long-term vision for it, but right now the Jets are in win-now mode. The second you make that Aaron Rodgers trade and it becomes official, to me, anything regarding planning for the future, we got to save cap space, we got to save draft picks, all that shit goes out the window, because you're making an investment in trying to win a Super Bowl within the next year or two. Hopefully you get 2 years out of Aaron Rodgers. I would love that, but there's a possibility, whether he gives you a 2-year commitment or not, there's a possibility that he might only play for 1 year anyway. Even if he gives you the 2-year commitment, he might decide, in December at the end of it, shit, my body's just not responding, I can't do another year. That's always a possibility. So it doesn't make any sense. If you're going to make this move, you got to be completely all in. That means, deferring money into future years. That means giving up future draft picks to try to get whatever help you can get this year to put the best product on the field, surround Aaron Rodgers with the most talent possible, and give yourself a legitimate chance to go win a Super Bowl. So again, once that trade becomes official, I feel like all bets are off. You do whatever you could possibly do to improve the team. And, I don't think they're far away. I really don't. You need a center. I think you need one playmaker on offense, and everything else will kind of fall into place there, especially, with Breece Hall and how it's going to open things up for him. Aaron Rodgers just makes everybody better on his own. But if you add another weapon, Garrett Wilson grows in year 2 a little bit. You got the speed with Hardman. You got Lazard, his chemistry with Rodgers. This offense could really get to another level if you have a healthy Breece Hall. And then on the defensive side, I think it's really just a matter of finding either a nice coverage safety or a coverage linebacker. A guy that can kind of play in space, a center fielder type safety, or just a fast, rangy, possibly a younger linebacker. I don't know again who you're going to get in free agency at this point. Not that they really have a whole lot of money, but that's where, again, you got to get creative as far as trades go. And I know Budda Baker's been out there. I know there was a linebacker, I think, a week or 2 ago that requested a trade, someone pretty notable. So, to me, it's one or the other. I don't think they're going to get both, just because I don't think they have the assets or the money to get both, on top of some other needs that they might want to address. But if you could get one or the other, and then, with some mid-round picks, just find some speed and some guys that maybe fit your system, that are coachable, I really, truly, genuinely don't think this team is that far off. Rodgers is going to make such a huge difference. So can't wait to get live tonight. Talk to you guys later. Have a good night. See you soon.